Hey, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. This is the Q&A on archetypal relationships, archetypes. Now, I opened in my community section the request for people to give me two names of one name of each partner. And I had 60, I've got 65. I had to close 65 couples, 65 pairs. I had to close everything. And I am able to work with them, except for one I had to remove because they gave me four names. I didn't know what names to work with. So this is how I'm going to work it. I'm going to give you the place where I do these archetypes readings. Just to get more information on it, you'll see on my website, I put it in the chat. Now, keep your ears open because I'm going through all of the information now for each person, for each couple, for each everything. Let's see now, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? I've got it here. So, there are, of all of the couples, there are some, and I'll explain them. There are some that repeat. The couple, there's a king and a maiden, a king and a mystic, and I'll explain those, and they're common. And so I will put the names of the people, of the couples, or relationships, mothers and daughters, for example, of those groups. Now, the most common, I'm going to start with the most common. Now, and this pertains to, this is by far the most common. Let me read it for you. These are all my notes. Where one of the people is, if it's a male, it's a king, the king and the maiden. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a male, but they present as a male. Because, for example, one of my clients wrote a mother-daughter relationship. Several wrote business partners and things like that. So let me explain who this pertains to. Now, let me see. I have to get my stuff organized here. So much work. It took me so long to do this. So long. All right. Let's get the show on the road, girl. Let's get the show on the road. Okay. So this is for the couples and the pairs. Jitender and Surinder, which is a business partnership. This is also for Lori and Alan. This is also for Chauvin and Farhana, future husband and wife. This is also for Srividya and Vasu. This is also for twin flames, is the question, between Prajakta and Siddharth. Then I have, this is also for the pair Cindy and Robert. This is also for the pair. So this is by far the most common. Bindia and Ashutosh. Bindia and Ashutosh. Then also for the couple Swidle or Swiddle and Ashley. And Sham and Rosita. Sham and Rosita. And Priyamvadha and Rupam. Sorry if I mispronounced those. Now, in a public place like this, in a chat, I can't go into the entire things about what the characteristics of the king is and what the characteristic of the maiden is, but I can tell you, and this is why I'm having it live, the interaction between them. Now, this is how, for those that I have mentioned. Now, for the king is motivated by self-esteem and self-respect. And the maiden, on the other hand, is motivated by safety and security. The king needs to feel vulnerable in order to change. And sometimes a tragic event is what does it, what makes the king change. The maiden, on the other hand, can help the king to relax and see the beauty in the world. But the maiden tends to have a naive nature that will only bring out the king in him full force. The more naive she is, the more king he is. She is the king's responsibility and is under the control of the king. The maiden is very spontaneous and very adventurous at times, and can show the king a very great time, entertainment-wise. If they travel, they need to be travel, but the king may be too demanding with her at first. She's easygoing and she's really innocent, and she will not challenge the king outright. The king tries to protect her from the harshness of life. That's what generally the role of the king is, in relation, though, to the maiden. The maiden needs to stand on her own 2 feet, and that is her problem. The king wants to take care of her, or him, depending if it's on a business relationship, and isn't quick enough to teach her self-reliance because he likes the role of taken care of. The king can feel young again around the maiden and enjoys showing the maiden off because he likes being with the maiden, whether it's a male or a female. The maiden will and always will be his possession, and he does not think that she, the maiden, whether he or she, can live without him. She's more resourceful than he thinks. However, the maiden is more resourceful than he thinks. Because the maiden looks up to him, it's true. The king is the rock to her life and her personal defender. Okay, so we get that. But they clash if the king lets down his guard and isn't there for her when the maiden needs the king. After a while, the king's demands may change her. She may become harsh. The maiden may become harsh, may become jaded. And if this happen, the king will start to wonder where the sweet maiden went. And eventually, the maiden will learn to stand up to the king. All right, so this is the most common archetypal couple that I have found. Now, the second most common group of archetypes is the king, once again the king, and the mystic. And I'll tell you and explain that what it is. Now, this king and mystic group of companions or relationship in some way pertains to Sutapa and Jayanta, the future of their relationship they were interested in knowing. It pertains to the marital issues between Sumit and Sima. It pertains to Ariel and Ercilia. And there are 2 names here, Sanoy and Sarita. And I just took Ariel and Sarita. I'm not sure if these are the 2 names that you wanted to give me because I see 4 names, because it says here, husband and wife. Okay, so the husband is the king and the wife is the mystic. It also pertains to a couple called Muni and Ibnul, who are husband and wife. It also pertains to Chanta and Cesar. And it also pertains to Monisha and Kim, husband and wife. And last but not least in this group, it pertains to Vanessa and JD. Now let's see what that is all about. And of course, the reading, in the chat, I put the link to that type of reading. It's very, very in-depth. And I'm going to put that link again. It's far more than what I am doing now. Hang on. Someone in the chat is there you go. All right, so now we have the king and the mystic. What about these two and all those people that I mentioned? All right, now, again, we talk about the king. And so again, we have to remember that self-esteem and self-respect are what motivates the king. And the mystic is motivated by an aesthetic need for balance. Their objective is to move toward balance. The king needs to feel vulnerable to change. And sometimes, again, you'll hear this again, a tragic event is what makes him change. But the mystic is not one to make him feel vulnerable unless he falls completely in love with her. The mystic will not make her king vulnerable. The mystic needs to learn to be assertive and to go out and experience life. And the king, as a very powerful and strong man, can teach the mystic to be assertive. But it's more likely that he will be assertive for her, and she will feel that she is cared for. If he is going through, now this is interesting, if he is going through a midlife crisis of some sort, or just looking for a change, she, the mystic, will be a wonderful mystery to him. She can change his entire world, maybe even bring him in touch with his own spirituality. The king, on the other hand, may be in awe of her spiritual and paranormal abilities. They may offer a great escape, these abilities, the mystic's abilities. They can offer a great escape from the king's day-to-day grind, and he'll look forward to seeing her. She's so different from everyone else that he deals with every day, and this amazes the king. He probably won't believe in anything but science, of course, but for him, it must be proven to be real, and that's the difference between the way he thinks and the way she thinks. This is where they can clash. This is where they come head to head. This is where the problems begin, especially if he attacks her core ideas and her core beliefs. And she cannot understand, the mystic cannot understand why he does that. Why does he do, why he does what he does for a living, she can't even understand. She doesn't get why he wants to command. The mystic would never want so much responsibility, and she's not one to play house for someone so demanding. So you see already, even though this is a very common couple relationship, the king and the mystic, they come together, and it was very common for the people who wrote to me, it still looks like it has rocky waters and is difficult to understand. Now, there's a group that I pieced together because I saw they had similar archetypes, which I called the medium, the average common. There was the most common, then there were the average common. And in this group, there are 5 different types. So it's going to be a while. Now I'll start with the one that has the most numbers. I'll just go down to the group. This is the couple between. Let's see, number 5. I have a whole system here. Okay, between the what is called the maiden, the female maiden, and the male Messiah. So this time, instead of the mystic, we see a male Messiah and the maiden. And who pertains to these two archetypes together are these people, are the couple of Sanjita, which Nini, and Rajani, their father and daughter, okay? And also Ruchi and Tara, which is mother and daughter. Then we've got Gaurav and Minu, husband and wife. Then please forgive my pronunciation. Then we have the couple of Harshita and Prabhanshu. Then we also have, and last but not least for this group, is Hinesh and Darshika for this group, which is again which is the male Messiah and the maiden. All right, so what do we have here? What have we got? This is a whole new ball game here, a completely different ball game. Again, we've got the idea of the male Messiah is motivated by an aesthetic need to be connected to something greater than himself. That's what motivates the male Messiah. And of course, we did hear about the maiden. And remember, we heard that the maiden was motivated by safety and security. Now, when I say the male Messiah, remember, even if it's a mother-daughter relationship, one of the two couples presents as the male Messiah, okay? So, the male Messiah needs to learn to let go of the outcome of events in order to trust what guides them and to face the doubts that they have. But these are things that the maiden is fantastic at. These are things the maiden really knows how to do. She's very spontaneous. The maiden is spontaneous, adventurous usually. And this will greatly help this Messiah. And also very, very trusting. The maiden, again, as I mentioned before, has to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. And this will happen with the Messiah, because she won't be the top priority of their life. He will be off pursuing, and I keep saying, remember, even if it's a she, I will say he because it's a male archetype. He will be off pursuing his jobs and tasks and most likely traveling far away from her, distances from her. And this will push her to stand on her own 2 feet, the maiden, because she'll be alone most of the time and she'll have to figure out who she is and what her interests are. Since he's not around much, he's fine with whatever she wants to do. So he gives her full freedom. And this is the kind of freedom that the maiden really, really wants. So as you can see, this combination is starting to look very, very good. They have an affinity. They have the dynamism, this dynamic quality that they share really works to their favor. Now, the Messiah can see her and her ways as a distraction for them. But she can also give the Messiah a lot of energy and a lot of strength and a lot of confidence. The maiden may be too innocent for the Messiah, however. This is the downside. There's always a downside And the Messiah may not be able to talk to her about his day because he doesn't know if she can handle hearing all about it, because she's very sensitive and may be almost too empathic, and that will be difficult for her. Very interesting. This is an extremely interesting combination here because, as you can see, they seem to be more in tune with themselves than the others so far. Now let's go on with the next group. The next group are, again, this is really interesting, the male Messiah and the female Messiah. And you would think, wow, they must really be in tune with each other. Who does this pertain to? This pertains to the couple Udit and Ruchi, husband and wife. It also pertains to Jayanti and Dev, and it also pertains to Chanta and Cesar. Now, what is the combination like? We heard talk about the aesthetic need to be connected to something greater than himself was the male Messiah. And that motivates the male Messiah. And the aesthetic need also for the female Messiah is the same. She needs to be connected to something greater than herself. So you start to think right away, wow, we're in tune with each other. He needs to learn, however, to let go of the outcome of the events, to trust what guides him, and to face his doubts. That is his problem. She, the female Messiah, also needs to learn to let go of the outcome of events and to trust what guides her. Maybe together they can support each other and be there for rough times, for the universal rough times, anything life will throw their path. Sometimes seeing the bright side to each other's problems helps you see the bright side to your own problem. They can help each other carry their own missions. They may truly honor and respect each other, which is not a bad thing. They have to be careful, though, not to get too attached to each other, however, because if they do, they can become, this attachment can be a drawback, one for the other. It will work against them. They can be great friends and offer much solace. As no other person can do, because they don't even understand these two archetypes. They are like soulmates, all right? Now, I'm going to say that again. They're like soulmates, but they may never get to be together because their missions are always top priority. It's so interesting. This study of archetypes is so infinitely interesting. And the more I do them with clients, they just are wondrous. Sometimes this male Messiah and the female Messiah have to, they almost have a psychic connection. And they can tell what the other one is doing across long distances. And this is what lends to the idea that they both have, that they are soulmates. It's fascinating. This is fascinating. All right, now the next, this is the average. The average common is the artist and the maiden. The artist and the maiden. We heard some talk about the maiden already, but we'll now hear how the artist in the male, or someone who acts as the male, works or takes the role of the male. Now this pertains to the couples Sanjeev and Deepashki, who are husband and wife. It also pertains to the couple Chitra and Jagdish. And it also pertains to the couple, well, I had a lot of work this week, Jayanti and Vishal, wife and husband. Now here we've got something interesting here. Now, survival, the idea of survival motivates the artist. And safety and security, as we heard a few times now, motivates the maiden. The artist needs to learn self-control, big time, and to distance himself from very explosive situations. The maiden cannot help him with these things because she needs to learn the same lessons. She needs to stand on her own 2 feet, as we heard. The artist wants to take care of her, but he can't always be emotionally available for her. He's focused on himself and his projects a lot. He's probably around much of the time, so she doesn't have to be alone to figure out what's important to her. But because she's very spontaneous and adventurous at times, we heard that before, and can share in his desire for travel and new experiences. But he may not bother with explosive situations when she's around. She's too easygoing and innocent for that. And she may captivate him. There is an attraction here. The artist can feel young again with her, and his creativity can sparkle again with the maiden. She can be his muse. He may become too intense or passionate for her, starting arguments just to stir things up. And she enjoys, however, his emotional side, and they can have many romantic nights together. So there is a strong foundation here. There is something that draws them together. Now, I have 2 more in this category of average common, most average common groups and couples. And this is the king and the female messiah. Now, as we go on, I'm going to have the average, then the least common, and then there's going to be the unique. There are couples that only them have come up with certain archetypal matches. So the king and the female messiah pertains to the couples of Anthony and Smythe, to Carrie and Kevin, to Lekya and Dana Lakshmi, and then to Srijita and her mom, Sharmishta. Sorry. In this case, the daughter represents the king, oddly enough, and the mother is the female messiah. And it also pertains to the couple of Zara and Urfi, boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, what about this? What about these archetypes? This fascinates. I could go on and on all evening long here. Now, we heard and we get to know, because there's a lot of kings around. Males, a lot of men present as kings, but not all. We know that self-esteem is important for him, that self-respect is motivating the king. And there's, for the female messiah, we also heard that she has that aesthetic need to be connected to something greater than herself. He needs to feel vulnerable to change. And that is a very funny thing to try to understand. And sometimes a tragic event will make him vulnerable, but she can help him change. But he may not enjoy the way she helps him do that, because she really tends to push people. I don't mean to laugh at those couples, but I can see it. I can see it playing out in front of me. She needs to learn to let go of outcomes of events and to trust what guides her. And he is so used to structure and planning that he can't help her with that at all. He's not even sure he believes what she believes. And at first it may seem funny to him, but sooner or later, he'll expect her to calm down. Isn't that odd? The king is going to expect her, the female messiah, to calm down and find a new direction in life. If he's willing to suspend his disbelief, he can be an asset because he can help her make a plan and get people together to carry out that plan. He's more structured. He can be a drawback, however. He can be a drawback if he refuses to take her spirituality seriously or to believe in her. He can cause her to doubt herself, which is a pity, and doubt her job or her beliefs. He may also try to do everything for and take control of the situation. He won't do things her way. And that is the problem with this couple. She won't sit still for too long unless she's living in an oppressive society for women. This doesn't fit well with the king. There are flames here, fireworks here. The king wants to build a mini kingdom at home, but she's not willing to do that. She always has a new agenda or cause that she's working for, and the king can't deal with that. Either he is the number one thing in her life or it's over. So those 4 couples that I mentioned, flames. All right, then the last of the group of average common here is the male messiah and the mystic. You might think on the face value of it, the male messiah and the mystic could be very interesting together. It could be a match. Now this pair pertains to the couples called Faz and Tash, who are ex-girlfriend and boyfriend, who are also, it also pertains to Lumanda and Billy, and also pertains to Rakesh and Shreya, husband and wife. Now, the male messiah and the mystic. Again, we have the male messiah that has this motivation. He's motivated by this need to connect to something bigger than himself. And the mystic has almost the same need. She has the aesthetic need for balance. He needs to learn to let go out of the outcome of events, and we've heard this, and to trust what guides him, and to face his doubts, and we've heard that. But these are things the mystic can teach him. She lives in a receptive state. She is receptive. She's allowing everything that comes into her life to teach her something. She needs to learn to be assertive and to go out and experience life. He's not one to experience much in life, but he can teach her to be assertive. Very, very interesting. Very interesting couple this is. He's very driven when it comes to his missions. These two are very easygoing people. They both want to join in something that is greater than themselves. But the mystic needs more balance in her life, and she will want time to herself. Going out into the world can be scary for the mystic, and this is where they don't see eye to eye. She wouldn't mind that he goes away often. She's okay with that, but because she likes to be alone, that's why. She may see changing herself for the better as doing her part, because she's setting the stage for others to heal themselves by example. Let me read that again in my notes. She may see that changing herself for the better is something that she does and sets the stage for people to heal themselves through her example. The male messiah needs to be more productive in his view, and he may not embrace her views. So that is the downside of these couples. Then I'm getting to nothing because I just shut it. Yes, and now I'm getting to the least common. The least common. I have. There are three here, three different, and they're three. These three different are each made of two couples. So we're getting down to the unique group here. The first group here is the male messiah and an archetype that's called the nurturer. The nurturer. And these two archetypes pertain to two couples. The couple of Hera and Mamun, husband and wife, and to Vikram and Priyanka, who are also husband and wife. Now, we saw that the male messiah has this need to be connected, okay, to something greater than himself. We got that. And love and belonging, the notion of love and belonging, motivate the nurturer. The nurturer is well, I can't go into the entire each archetype and what they actually mean, but she's someone who nurtures others. She extends herself. Now, he needs to learn to let go of the outcome of events and to trust what guides him, to trust his instincts, and to face the doubts that he has. The nurturer, on the other hand, is not skilled at letting go of her doubts. Her doubts plague her. And because she's very committed to healing others, she's also not used to letting go of the outcome of events. So they have that negative thing in common. She needs to let go of her attachment to others. Let go. And she has to find her own identity. These are things that the male messiah can help her with because he knows how to remain unattached. But he's also so unpredictable that she cannot rely on him to be there for her all the time. There's not much for her to attach to and depend on with him. So she may look to others for this attachment rather than standing alone. But they both share the need to help others, which may keep them together for a long time. She understands where he's coming from, but she simply can't let someone suffer for their higher good the way he can. And he understands why she rearranges her life to help others, because he too rearranges his life for his job or his mission. And they, all in all, they respect each other and can be great friends. He can be a very, very faithful husband. It's an interesting couple. This is an extremely, extremely interesting couple. Now, let me go into the next two couples that are also, there are two who are least common. And this couple is this is the woman's man. A man who is a woman's man. I'm not sure if all of you have ever heard that expression. A woman's man is a man who women like, a man who has an eye for the ladies. There's many ways of saying that. So it's a woman's man and the maiden. And this pertains to couples 31. I hope I'm not going to have people split up here because of this. This is all done in jest. Let's say it's for entertainment. All right, these couples are Shipura and Shubham. And also couples Musamitiga and Subhasin Hessa. I believe that's husband and wife. Okay. Now, let me read this to you. That is quite interesting. All right, so love and belonging motivate the woman's man. Okay, the man. Love and belonging. And the maiden is motivated by safety and security. Now, he needs to learn how to value himself as a man and to stop running away from responsibility. And this is not the maiden's specialty. She needs to work on being responsible too. But that's because she acts young, not because she's trying to live outside of society's rules. She's somewhat naive. She's also very spontaneous and adventurous at times. We've heard this before. And he may not see her as much of a project unless she has low self-esteem. She has to learn how to stand on her own 2 feet. We've heard that. And the woman's man, the man, can help her with this, encouraging her to be more independent and pointing out all her good qualities. He's a real self-esteem booster, thank goodness. But they won't necessarily be there for each other physically. He will be off playing the field with roving eyes, looking at other women, and so will she. She too has this tendency. But they can meet on an emotional level. They both share the same experiences and have a hard time fitting in with normal society. They can both feel validated and renewed when they get together, but they also will likely be bored. Sorry. He may not be able to teach her very much, and she knows he isn't the marrying kind because he has roving eyes, and he won't take care of her. And that's what she really wants. She wants somebody to take care of her. So this combination is in part helpful to each other, but creates difficulties. There are a lot of difficulties here. I always say to couples when they come to me for this type of reading, once you understand your main archetype, because I don't only work with the relationships archetypes, I have 4 different type of archetypal readings in one. One has to do with relationships, one has to do on the job, one has, so it's complex. But I always tell people this, once you understand the what your archetype, how it works, I think, that I could keep putting my archetypal reading there, my link. Once you understand how it works, you can, if you really want to make an effort to make things work, you have to make it work. You have to work on it. The last in this group, the least common, is the artist that we heard of and the mystic that we've heard just recently. Now, this pertains to 2 couples. They are Mahima and Abhishek, and Marina and Robert. Now, the artist and the mystic. We have the artist. We know that he's motivated by survival. And, of course, the mystic, we've heard, she's motivated by the need for balance. He needs to learn self-control, and he needs to distance himself from difficult situations, explosive situations, and both of which happen to be the mystic's specialty. She can teach him self-control. She can teach him self-control and how to see the big picture when he gets upset. She needs to learn to be, again, assertive. I'll say that again. And to go out and experience real life in the real world. As someone who sees a lot of beauty in the world, the artist tends to have an eye for beauty in the world. He can help bring her out of her shell, the mystic. And also, as someone who's willing to stand up to others, he can also teach her how to be assertive. But the mystic's quiet nature, her quiet demeanor, allows him to spend hours in her company. He may even want to make her the subject of his creative project. She loves his creativity because it comes from deep within his soul. And he may, as you can see, this is starting to look really, really good, the artist and the mystic. He may be in awe of her spiritual and paranormal abilities, and he may even try to learn about them in detail. Maybe the experience will help his creative work, he thinks. She enjoys her alone time, so she's fine if he locks himself in his studio for hours or days at a time. She's okay with that. He loves that about her, but sometimes he may try to get a rise out of her. He may want to confront her. He may want to really push her buttons just for the sake of excitement. This is interesting, and it is such an interesting way of reading people. Now there is the unique couples, and there are quite a few here. Let me take them one at a time that we're here. I will be able to get to the end without falling on my face. So we have the first. The first is pertains. All right. The first is the Fool. The Fool, as in the tarot, the Fool, okay, which represents a male image, a male role, and the Nurturer, who we just heard about, the Nurturer. Now, it pertains to one relationship, and this is Carol Ann, who is the mother, and Autumn, who is the daughter. Now, the daughter in this case is the Nurturer. Isn't it odd to think? And the mother is the Fool. Now listen to how interesting this is. Fabulous. I mean, I could go, like I said, I can go on and on. Right now, you need to know and understand the need that they have, that the Fool has. To know and understand is what motivates the Fool. Okay, so this is Autumn's mother. And the love and belonging motivate the Nurturer. The mother here in this case needs to learn to set limits on her behavior and consider other people's feelings. The daughter always considers what other people feel so she can help the mother in this way. The daughter needs to let go of her attachment to others and to find her own identity, something that the mother can help her with. The mother is so unpredictable that the daughter will find herself on her own many times when she least expects it. And there's not much for her to attach to and depend on with her mother, because the mother is her own person. Now, the mother in this couple may exploit the daughter's need to help others, simply by knowing that the daughter will always take the mother back into her life when the mother is down on her luck. And the daughter can't help herself. This is bad for her if she still has feelings for the mother. So this is a very complicated relationship, okay? The mother in this case cannot understand why the daughter rearranges her entire life to help others, because the mother admits that helping others is good, but believes that the daughter needs to set boundaries for herself, or she risks being of no use to anyone. And her mother can help her with this. The daughter will be happy if the mother's job has something to do with helping others, like working for the Peace Corps, something like that. The mother may do as it allows the mother to move around a lot, because the mother in this couple likes to move around a lot and meet new people. The daughter may push the mother's buttons if the mother is materialistic and unsympathetic with others. The mother better be able to deal with the daughter giving attention to others, because or else they will not any longer talk to each other. Okay, so this is a complicated relationship. Then we have this couple, which is the couple of Rashika and Vaibhav, the matriarch and the recluse. The recluse is a person who stays to themselves, and the matriarch is a powerful female figure, usually a mother figure. Now, let's say that we have the recluse, in this case, the man, who has a need to know and to understand. And that's what motivates the recluse. And love, belonging, and respect motivate the matriarch. He needs to learn how to relate to people and to reconnect with his body. These are not things that the matriarch can teach, because she expects her man to bring home friends he's made at work. His friends are her friends. This is the way she thinks. She wants home base, and the recluse probably is not the man to provide it for her. She loves to be in control and won't be able to cope if he's so easygoing and flighty, because she may see through him and think if she knows that about him, she'll be turned off. She needs to commit to herself as much as she commits to her husband or family. With the recluse, she will probably have so little to do that she will be forced to spend time with herself. Now, deep down inside, the recluse, the husband, knows she does a lot for him and he respects her. He just has a hard time getting the alone time that he really needs. She seems to always want his attention, always nagging at him, ordering him around as if every free moment must be time, he must be spent performing her chores. Her marriage is important to her, and she won't give up easily, but her home base, in whatever form, is her domain. She tries to respect his space, usually unsuccessful in doing that, and she knows he loves her, but she may do better with a man who is more available than he is. So she's the one who's ready to get up and leave, okay? Then we have a couple here that is the protector, the archetype of the protector, and the archetype of the maiden. So you can see that very often this maiden has been coming up quite a bit, similar to the king. And let me answer the question, well, Christelle, how do you do it? This is a psychic reading here. I tune in and get the archetypes for you, just like I do any other reading that I have. Now this is, and you'll while you hear this, as I'm sure it happens, you'll say, oh my God, how could she know that? How could she know that? It's amazing. This pertains to the couple number, in my book here, 13, Peter and Ivana. Peter and Ivana, I think I know who you are. Peter and Ivana, I think I know who you are. All right, so we have the protector and the maiden. So we have survival motivates the protector, safety and security motivates the maiden. He needs to learn self-control because he frequently flies off the handle, though not necessarily in a violent way. She can help him relax and see the beauty in the world, but she's naive at times, and her naive nature will only bring out the protector in him full force. She is his responsibility in his eyes, and he likes that. She's very spontaneous, adventurous at times, and she can share in his desire for travel and new experiences. He may not fly off the handle and get angry at all with her around, because he feels she's too easygoing and innocent for that kind of stuff. He protects her from his outbursts so she doesn't see that anger side to him. She has to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. Did you hear that, Ivana? What did we talk about? She needs to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. And the protector wants to take care of her, but is not quick to teach her self-reliance. he will not teach her that. He's probably around much of the time, so she doesn't have to be alone to figure out what's important to her. So the idea here, the dynamic process is the more he's around, the least she will become independent. And that's what motivates them. So the protector may feel young again around her and enjoys showing off, especially her physical nature around her. He likes to be seen with this maiden. He has this feeling, even if she's the same age as him or older than him, her maiden nature makes her very younger than he is. She looks up to him. He's the rock in her life and her personal defender. They clash if he lets down his guard and isn't there for her when she needs him. Kaput. Did you hear that? Ivana. All right, then we have our lesson. I'm good-natured. I'm saying this good-natured because I enjoy these. Then we have the artist and the Amazon. All right, the Amazon is another wild female archetype. And this is for couple 21. Nibedita and Danmanje. Nibedita and Danmanje. All right, so we have Nibedita, I think, and Danmanje. All right, so survival motivates the artist, and we heard that. And survival motivates the Amazon. The Amazon is an extremely powerful woman. The artist needs to learn self-control and to distance himself from explosive situations. And the Amazon can help him with that if they are doing physical things. She's very physical. She's also usually good at controlling her emotions. She wants to find a place of her own and to be recognized for her contributions. The artist may value what she does. He often gets his artistic creative energy burst after being exposed to the harshness of life, so he can value her causes. Okay. He may not know how to act around, and this is cute, he may not know how to act around the Amazon. She may be tougher than he is, and she is, and this may make him feel less of a man. Thus, he may be short with her and uncooperative. He already may have a hard time fitting in with other men because he's so in touch with his emotions. And he doesn't want women to make him feel uncomfortable too. And in this couple, the Amazon makes him feel uncomfortable. She has a hard time understanding all the creative jargon that he uses and wonders if he's trying to impress her or make her feel stupid. And he can be a good balance for her. But they will have a tough time making things work if he's not assertive. Amen. Amen. Then we have a couple that is an archetype group, two archetypes that are the king and the nurturer. This is new. So we've heard a lot about the king and the nurturer already in two separate relationships. Now this is Shipura and Shubham. Shipura and Shubham, partners that want to get married. So maybe if I tell you this, you'll still be in time to think about it again. Again, I say this in jest. Please take this with a grain of salt because I'm making jest. Okay, I'm laughing. All right, so we have the king, and we know that the king is motivated by self-esteem and self-respect. Okay. And love and belonging motivate the nurturer, and we've heard that before. Again, he can only be vulnerable to change if a tragedy occurs. And the nurturer cannot make him feel vulnerable. So the nurturer will never make him change or embrace change. Being the caretaker, because she is a caretaker, the nurturer will not stand up to the king. She will always try to be understanding with him because she sees the kind of day that he has had. She needs to let go of her attachment to others and to find her own identity, not things that the king can help her with, since he often encourages people to depend on him. Now, his attitude is this: I'll provide everything. And that's why he doesn't give the nurturer what she needs. He may not like her helping other people so much, and he does not. He feels that her attention should be focused on him, and that these people are taking advantage of her. And he may say things like, she should be paid, she should be rewarded, she should take care of herself more. He'll never understand her. And he may do better with a woman who is stronger than the nurturer, but more subservient to him. She would be a great match for a king who pushes others away with his demands and rulership. She doesn't want to leave him without giving him another chance. They can be a great match. Very few people take the time to understand and stick by the king. Most of them do it out of fear. She can do it out of love. He never may have known real love before, and her nurturing can touch his heart. Oh, nurturing can touch his heart. How wonderful. Then we have a couple, which is Neha and Amish. Neha and Amish, which is the Fool and the female Messiah. The Fool and the female Messiah. Now, we know that the Fool has a need to know and understand. That motivates him. And of course, the female Messiah needs to connect with something that's higher than, with something greater. He needs to learn to set limits on his behavior and consider other people's feelings. And she can help him with this, but he may not enjoy the way she does it, because she can really be pushy and push people to do things and to change, and he doesn't like that. She needs to learn to let go of the outcome of events and trust what guides her. He is so used to letting go, of outcomes, that he can be a great teacher for her, this Fool. Okay, he's the Fool, remember. He doesn't care if he believes in her mission or not. He doesn't care. He can have a great time following her and her jobs and everything. He can be an asset if he's willing to suspend his disbelief, because he can help her take the risks she needs to take. Now, he can be a drawback to the female Messiah if he refuses to take her seriously or to believe in her, and shows it is his action. And shows it in his actions and words. That will be a drawback. He can cause her to hold on tighter to the outcome of her tasks if he pushes her too much. She may try to prove him wrong. He may not be serious enough for her taste, though she enjoys being around people. She won't sit still for too long unless she's living in an oppressive society for women. And this fits very well with the Fool, who finds work and structure boring. She always has a new agenda or cause to work for. All in all, this is a very interesting match. Then we have a couple which have the, which is Navneet and Gurbakshish, Narvit and Gurbakshish, which is the Fool and the Maiden. Now, again, the Fool, as we just heard, always has the need to know and understand, and that motivates him. And safety and security is the Maiden. He needs to set the limits on his behavior and to understand other people's feelings. But these are the same things that the Maiden needs to work on. So they may be too much alike for their own good. She's very spontaneous and adventuresome at times and captures his attention easily. He may enjoy being the only risk taker because it makes him different. So he may not like her taking part in his adventures. She must learn to stand on her own 2 feet, like we've heard before, And the Fool may not have the means to help her or support her in this. And so what happens is that she'll have to become self-sufficient no matter what. And they won't necessarily be there for each other physically. He'll be off playing around, and so will she playing around. But they can meet on an emotional level. They both share some experiences, the same type of experiences, and have a hard time fitting into a normal type of society. And both of them can feel validated and renewed in each other's company. So they do feed off of each other in some way. They're kindred souls. They're kind. However, they may lack the resources to take care of themselves with a certain responsibility, unless one of them has come up with an invention or something of the sort that gives them a steady flow of income. The income factor is a touchy one. If she gets pregnant, things can get touchy for them. She will be forced to be the person who's responsible, and he will also feel the pressure. How interesting is that? How interesting is that? Then we have a couple, which is Hoshang and Dimple, husband and wife. And I think I know who Dimple is. This couple is the... I have too many windows open. Sorry. All of my homework here, which is the artist and the female messiah. All right, so survival motivates the artist, and the aesthetic need to be connected to something greater motivates the female messiah. He needs self-control, as we've heard before, and to distance himself from some explosive type of situations. So we get that. She can help him with these things, but he may not enjoy the way she does it, because we've learned that the female messiah can be pushy. She needs to let go of the outcome of events and trust what guides her. And the artist cannot learn how to do this for her. He's not good with that. He doesn't care all that much about planning things out, and he's not very trusting. He's not a very trusting person either. He can be an asset, though, if he's willing to use his creative energy to help her. Otherwise, if that doesn't work, if he refuses to take her seriously or believe in her, he can be a drawback. He can cause her to doubt herself and what she does and her work. She has a hard time understanding his projects and his selfishness. She thinks he's selfish, as she sees it. She says things like this: What does painting do for the world? Why is he always so moody? You're supposed to master your feelings, not be mastered by them, she thinks. And she won't sit still for long, because unless she's in an oppressed society. And that's okay. Like we heard, the artist can adapt to that and find time for his interests. He likes a change of scenery once in a while. He wants a woman who will support him and understand him, not to challenge him. And she will challenge him. So this is a challenge in itself, this relationship. Then we have 47. 47, I've given these numbers, is Awanish. Awanish and Ritu is the male messiah and the Amazon. You remember the Amazon, the very physical. All right, so we have the male messiah, need to connect to the greater, something greater than himself. And the Amazon is survival. That motivates her. He needs to learn to let go of the outcome and to trust what guides him and to face his doubts. And the Amazon can help him with these needs if she believes in what he's doing. She knows how well to trust that her work will be done. She knows well how to trust that her work will be done. What does this mean? This means that fighting for her causes will bring victory. She can't worry about the outcomes when she knows things will work themselves out. She can trust others to do their jobs well, and she knows how to motivate them. She wants to find a place of her own and to be recognized for her contributions. The male Messiah has to recognize her contributions, but he can't help her much in building a place of her own. He has other things on his mind. They can both get behind a cause or a job and work together for hours and hours and hours. They could be like best friends most of the time. They understand how the other one thinks and feels, and they understand what commitment means and what perseverance means. She can help him by literally protecting him, and she has the resources to do that. And if he needs to leave her, she'll be okay with that. She can take care of herself and make it on her own. The male Messiah needs a woman like that because he may leave or make sacrifices at any time. This is an interesting match. And the last one that we have is the king and the matriarch. And this is the couple Deepika and Shubham. Deepika and Shubham. And Deepika and Shubham is the king and the matriarch. The king and the matriarch, odd couple. Self-esteem and self-respect motivate the king. And love, belonging, and respect motivate the matriarch. He needs to feel vulnerable, like we've always heard, to change. And sometimes tragedy will help that. But the matriarch cannot make him feel vulnerable. She needs to commit herself as much as she commits to her husband or family. With the king, she will be kept busy running their household and their home, as well as he runs his business. She'll take care of everything. And in this way, he may take her for granted. And he better change his ways because she will stand up for herself. He can only push her so far. Her marriage is important to her and she won't give up easily, but home base is important to her. Deep down inside, he knows she does a lot for him and he respects her for that and for standing up to him. He actually respects her for that. He takes her very seriously when she does stand up to him, as he knows he must have done something wrong to get her angry. So there's a lot of respect. She respects the king's space and knows he loves her. But she may do better with a more subservient man. On the other hand, a more powerful husband can set limits on her freedom, also understood as queendom. He's the king. He can set limits on her queendom, thus stopping her from taking over the kids' lives. There's a double bond here. They are so much alike that they often clash, but they also understand each other and may be the only other person to put up with each other. They can be best friends. At times they are, and they truly respect each other when they aren't driving each other crazy. So these are all of the requests I've had. I've gone way overboard, ladies and gents. Thanks for staying with me. Think about these types of readings because they are very, very interesting. And you get a lot of information. You really understand a lot of things that you wouldn't have. And nonetheless, it is a psychic reading. Namaste, and I'll be back. A big bit of news. I'll be coming back with Sushant live on the date of his death, the 14th of June. So be looking out for that. I'll announce it. Namaste, ladies and gents. Be back. I will be back.